Below the surface is a world that is mystifying. Sunken ships, even aircraft in some regions, share some of the most intriguing pieces of visual history in the world. Each shipwreck has a story, and thanks to a proposal being considered by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA for short, the sunken treasures below the waters of Lake Ontario may soon be recognized as part of a new national marine sanctuary. Oswego County Administrator Philip Church has been leading the charge of nominating Lake Ontario since it was brought to his attention in 2017.
We were interested in a shipwreck sanctuary, not an environmental one, largely because one of our goals was not to disrupt the current recreational use of this area, which is largely sports fishing. We wanted to augment it by increasing visitation and awareness worldwide of this area. We have an opportunity and a unique resources here to really put this region on the map because at that time there are only 14 marine sanctuaries in the world and we could be one of them.
Dave White, recreation specialist for the New York Sea Grant, is in full agreement. Not only will the prospect of a sanctuary increase visitation and boost the local economy, it will bring to life deep maritime history that may have otherwise been forgotten.
We have some of the most pristine wrecks in the world. A lot of these resources are in deep water that even a recreational diver can't get to. And we probably have, to me, the top 5 intact war vessels in the world are right here in New York State. So when we begin to talk about maritime history and shipwrecks, this is the place to be, whether you're a diver, whether you're a historian or a local community member that just wants to learn about that deep history. It's preserved in the deep waters of Lake Ontario and all of our Great Lakes throughout the state of New York.
A national marine sanctuary is part of a network of NOAA's underwater parks, which cover 620,000 square miles of ocean and Great Lakes. The purpose of any marine sanctuary program is to promote responsible access to wrecks while preventing looting damage and negative behavior. The cold, deep waters of Lake Ontario benefit these maritime treasures because they preserve them so well. This makes these ships more intriguing to learn about, bringing yet another valuable aspect to acknowledging Lake Ontario as an official marine sanctuary. Katie Malinowski has been leading the charge with community feedback and involvement and anticipates academic interest to be high.
You have the State University of New York at Oswego. You could even get to Syracuse University, some of the larger institutions a little farther abroad that could bring their research dollars, their research experts here to do cutting-edge type of work, looking at the shipwrecks, looking at the history.
There are a number of wrecks that have yet to be discovered, so we will be doing some inventory of Lake Ontario. We need to document the wrecks. We'll be gathering video, photographs, doing 3D models, all of which can contribute to our education and outreach programs.
Economic impact is one of the goals we set. Other goals we set that are equally important is augmenting educational opportunities here. NOAA creates curriculum and lesson plans around shipwrecks to teach certain subjects. You can teach almost any subject to a child using an exciting topic of a shipwreck.
The proposed area is a boundary that moves through Wayne, Cayuga, Jefferson, and Oswego counties. It covers approximately 1,724 square miles. At least 43 shipwrecks are known to be under these waters, but once designated, many more will be revealed. One aircraft has also been identified below the surface, but again, many more may soon be revealed. Even areas that are not accessible by divers can be explored with remotely operated vehicles, or ROV.
When you look at a shipwreck map of the Great Lakes, of Lake Ontario, it's just dotted all over the eastern shore because this was also a major route of commerce. So not only are we talking about war, but we're now talking about commerce between the southern shore of Lake Ontario to the northern shore of Lake Ontario. They can be in 600 feet of water, and we can go out and find them, send an ROV down, and they're going to be completely intact in cold water today, just like the day they went down.
Many of these ships went down with crew on board. hundreds, if not thousands, of lives were lost. So when divers or vehicles go under to explore, the wreck won't be the only find they come across.
You could actually have the remains of soldiers on the bottom. And, so we need to talk with our military friends, folks within all of our militaries to say, okay, this was a naval vessel that was carrying Marines at the time or Army soldiers at the time. Sacred ground has to be recognized as well. And in some cases, they may be Native American sites that we have, and we need to be and already are communicating the National Marine Sanctuary Office with all of our Native American partners and tribes along the Great Lakes. And in some cases they talk about then raising them and having them on display. Again, some of these really historic vessels, there may be a reason to actually go through the whole conservation process to raise them and put them on museums, as we currently have both in Washington and here in New York with some extremely historic vessels. We have vessels that are currently owned by England. They were a British vessel. And unless, the British government has given up rights to that vessel, it is still their vessel.
The designation process for the Lake Ontario National Marine Sanctuary is still ongoing as NOAA continues to review the proposal. There will also be additional public meetings and comments. NOAA will take those comments into consideration as they finalize their sanctuary documents. And if all goes well, the sanctuary would become official by the spring of 2023. And then the process of creating the next National Marine Sanctuary begins in all 4 counties.
Although there's a marine sanctuary in Thunder Bay out in Michigan, our wrecks are older and many are very intact because of their depth, so they're historic. And that is something that would make us different from Thunder Bay, but similar at the same time, so we fit into the criteria that NOAA was looking for in a marine sanctuary nomination.
It's very important that we have some early accomplishments and tangible projects to show what it means to be a sanctuary. That said, it does take time for us to to hire staff, to develop programs. I know one thing that people are very interested in is a visitor center. And it's very important to us that we do have a place for people to visit, to have an experience with the sanctuary without necessarily having to be there.
For more information on the proposed Lake Ontario National Marine Sanctuary, visit sanctuaries.noaa.gov/Lake Ontario. In Oswego County for WPBS Weekly, I'm Jolene DeRosier.